Yo, yo, what's good, YouTube? What's good? It's Stormy B Man, and I am back welcoming you to the post-fight show with Stormy B Man for this Saturday, July 30th, 2022. And this is the post-fight show for Garcia versus Benavidez, broadcast from the Barclays Center in New York on Showtime Championship Boxing. What's good, everybody? How you doing out there? Pretty decent card. Some questionable things on the card, though. It's like, boxing continues to do that thing that it does, which is to shoot itself. They no longer shoot themselves in the foot. They have no more feet or legs to stand on. So this is just direct ass shots now, huh? Shooting themselves in the ass, the sport of boxing. No sport does it like the sport of boxing. And for those out there who want to disagree, stay the hell away from me. You know what I'm saying? Because this is what it is. The sport stinks in a lot of areas that need to be cleaned up. And the sport will always suffer until people pay attention to what they need to pay attention to. But let me not digress and get off the subject. We are here for the post-fight show where we saw the main event just come to its conclusion, where Danny Garcia put on a boxing clinic against Jose Benavidez Jr., and you kind of wonder if Jose brought arms with him tonight, because he didn't do much fighting, didn't do much boxing. You know, he really seemed to be mugging and clowning and talking, and not much fighting. And he made it easy for Danny. Made it very easy. And that's okay, I guess, in a sense, because with the time that Danny had been off, he needed to get the rounds in to shake off the ring rust. And the little bit that he shared there in the post-fight interview, he had been dealing with his own demons. So salute to Danny for being able to make a comeback in the sport because he wanted to, and perform at the level that he was able to do so. It wasn't easy, but he made it look easy because of his experience, his abilities, and the fact that he's still a good fighter. And if he wants something more out of the sport, now's the time. You got to make your move. Because at 34, you are really knocking on the door of, being on your way out. You got a lot of young lions out there that are chomping at the bit to get to where you are and surpass. So it's time. But salute to everybody out there, man. I'm glad everybody's in the building. We see you guys out there. We got a lot to talk about. We put my little emblems up there. Got my emblem for the Black Gentleman Grooming Company up there. Salute to Junior the Truth and what they're doing over there with the Black Gentleman Grooming Company. Still an ambassador for that. The clickable link is in the description box, where if you enter Stormy B Man, you get 10% off towards your next purchase. Black Gentleman Grooming Company. Yeah. So be mindful. Do yourself a solid and go over there and get you some of the handcrafted products that they got over there. Yeah. I know you guys ain't seen this in a little bit, but I got the Stormy B Man sale chat up on the screen again. Haven't done that in a while. Huh? Yeah. Want to take a quick moment out and salute who's rolling with us this evening. Underground Asylum in the building saying salute, Sensei. Let's talk about it. JC is out there saying Sensei. William Old School is out there saying salute, Stormy B-Man. What's good, my brother? Jimmy Bernard saying salute, Stormy B-Man. What's good, chat? Love your post-fight shows. Always on fire. I appreciate you, Jimmy Bernard. Smooth Shade 4YT is out there saying decent fight. MPWTF in the building saying salute, Sensei. Who else we got out here? AJ64 saying salute, Stormy in chat. Jimmy Bernard says, I can't stand fighters talking and joking around in the ring. What do you think, Sensei? I think it belongs outside in the trash, huh? As do some of those fighters, huh? That conduct themselves as such. No doubt. Reese Bro out there saying Stormy B. Wrenches and chat. Hit the like. Hustler Slim is out there saying Danny will die at 54. Shaking my head. Salute, Stormy B-Man. Salute to you. Mike Biggs Boxing in the building saying Stormy B-Man. Salute, my bro. Salute to you. I'm going to tell you something. I understand how you could feel that way, Hustler Slim, that Danny would die at 154. But I'm going to tell you something. Danny hasn't died anywhere he has been. You can like him, you can loathe him. But one thing you can't take away from is the young man can fight, he can box, he has ability, he has a good chin. For Danny, it all comes down to what he wants to do. What type of desire still burns in his furnace? I noticed something about him tonight that I didn't see in the Earl Spence fight, which was his last outing. And it had been missing from some of his other fights. Most recent, even though he's been out of the ring for a long time. Danny was doing something in the ring tonight against Benavidez that you see from veteran fighters who are complete fighters. He was picking Benavidez's shots off with his gloves. Knocking shots down, knocking shots off to the side, making certain that the shot didn't land flush. Those are subtleties that the old school trainers would teach fighters how to do. You don't see a lot of guys today doing that. Not in the least. I loved it. And salute to my brother KQKC Boxing Network, who called those fights on the prelim cards on YouTube as well as the Showtime live broadcast. He mentioned that he had been on for about 5 hours, if not a little over. Salute to KQKC because of the hard work that he does. And you guys have a true gem and should show more support for this man that does what he does to the extent that he does it, because you guys kind of like soak it in and, you know, absorb like sponges, but you be moved to maybe send him a few more super chats or something like that for his work. He really be going all out for you guys, and he's much better than the announcers that you hear over the television airwaves. Just know that. Huh? So I just wanted to say that in support of my brother. Danny showed skills tonight, like I said, that are missing in the sport. You know, there have been a number of his fights where he had stood there, feet in quicksand, no head movement, and seemed to kind of be like laying in wait for receipts when fighters are fighting him. There was none of that tonight. Danny had head movement. Like I said, he was picking those shots off. He fought with a liveliness that had been absent for him in his most recent outings. And I attribute that to him being able to lay off for a while and come back and be replenished, refreshed, body well rested, and he got back to the basics. When you can go and dig out your basics, you can make something of this sport that a lot of fighters are not capable of because they do not exercise the same practices. They simply do not. I saw it right away. By the second round, Danny's body was in a nice frothing sweat. Benavidez's body was still barely breaking a sweat. That means that Danny warmed up properly. That means that he was ready. His body was lively. And I cannot tell you enough about when guys use their hands. Danny used his hands in a lot of ways tonight. I loved how he remained in position to punch. He used an educated jab on this night. He was doubling the jab up to the face and chest. He was jabbing to the pit of the stomach. He was using the jab defensively. He used the jab offensively. Again, these are the subtle nuances. And against a guy who is very limited in Jose Benavidez Jr., it gave him an opportunity to work on some other things while he was in there. His footwork was pretty decent. He stayed out of danger. Benavidez landed a shot every once in a blue moon, but it was nothing threatening. And Danny was just totally outclassing him. The head movement was something else, like I said, I noticed that you haven't seen from him. Again, these are subtleties, because when you watching boxing, you watching for guys to punch and get hit and land punches and so forth and so on. But this was a one-way ticket to paradise. Huh? And who was the judge that scored this a draw? How insulting. This fight was not a draw, people. I gave Benavidez 1 round. And that was like the 8th or 9th round. I think it was the 9th. The 9th round I gave him. And that was close. Sometimes I don't know what they're looking at. When you watch these fights and you see the judges behave like that, because this was not a fight where Benavidez needed judges' help. He needed his corner to stop the fight because he wasn't performing. All of that mugging, sticking the tongue out and saying whatever he was saying that the audio couldn't pick up, it didn't equate to scoring points in the match. And I would have loved to hear corner instructions from his dad, because he was like totally outclassed tonight. And if that's what you do in the gym, you should never step foot in a boxing ring again. Because it was one of the most non-efforts that I've ever seen. And Danny didn't have anything to do with that. I had remarked in KQ's chat that I thought that Danny was setting him up for a big left hook, which I think he still was, but it just wasn't there. And He threw it a couple of times in that 11th and 12th round, but Danny wasn't going to telegraph that or whatever. He wanted to throw it where he could catch the guy sleeping, so he could possibly put him to sleep. I could see the setup the entire time. The right hand was very good tonight. He threw some right hands to the left side of Benavidez's body and to the stomach that were great. Great setups for that left hook. It was an amazing performance when you see the diversity of the shots that Danny utilized tonight. He utilized almost every shot in the book, including the uppercut, which he threw a couple of times from too far out. Guys get so happy about trying to throw that shot and land it that sometimes they don't really look at where they are when they launch it. They just kind of, from too far out was Danny's situation on a couple of occasions. But overall, his performance was outstanding. Like I said, I love to see fighters picking shots off with their gloves, because you're actually stopping momentum, aggression. You're stopping that lead into your space. And he did it subtly in a lot of ways. And it frustrated Benavidez. Almost made him keep his arms at home, because he figured if he throw the shot, it's not going to land because he's stopping it or he's knocking it down or whatever. See, again, these are the kind of things that if you're watching the technical aspect of boxing, you can pick up on it. It resonates through the action that is intense. Danny has great balance. He always has had great balance. And you could see the hand speed tonight too. Not that Benavidez was tearing it up in that department, but when he put his shots together, you could actually see the hand speed that he has. So I liked that. I liked his performance. It was a good fighter to come back against, because the threat of him getting hurt was minimal. But there are some fighters at 154, if he wants to remain there. He said something about fighting Lara, who's a 160-pound champion. But, there are some fighters that can put some hurting on you. So he should really evaluate what he's going to do at the middleweights divisions. Yeah. But on this night, the two fat welterweights got it done, because they were two welterweights basically fighting at 152, 154. So who else we got in the building here? James Galbraith is out there saying salute to the channel. Salute to you. Hustler Slim says he most definitely has a chin, right? Jimmy Bernard says, I would say to Danny to stay away from Charlo. King Corleone in the building. William says, facts. KQKC Boxing is great at commentating. St. Cruzin is out there saying, I picked Danny to outclass Benavidez. He did. Geo James in the building saying, salute family. And PGH Big Dog out there saying, salute Stormy B Man. Salute to you, bro. PGA said, who the hell scored it a draw? That's what I want to know, man. The one judge that had that a draw, that turned this into a majority decision, needs his ass whooped. Antonio MMA is out there saying salute, Sensei. PGH thinks that Danny is food at 154. His power didn't transfer. Benavidez can take a shot pretty good too. That I will not say anything about that, because it's not like he's, been beaten down like that. And Danny was trying to stay in a safe place. He wasn't trying to rumble on the inside and things like that, because he was very successful at everything else he was doing. He didn't need to languish on the inside, and that's okay. You fight smart, not hard. That's how you have to do it. Hustler Slim says Benavidez couldn't give Danny any angles due to his legs. He was all punch. He just stood there. I can't see Danny beating any of the top 154 pounders, not even Lubin. Wow. Hustler Slim, you may have to go to the eye doctor for some glasses, bro. Danny can beat some people. He can. He just has, he has abilities. It's up to him, though. It's really up to him what his motivations are. I wouldn't write the guy off like that. If you're saying that because he lost to Earl Spence, listen, Earl is the best of the division, right? So it's like that's nothing to sneeze at. The fight with Sean Porter was close. The fight with Keith Thurman was close. I would love to see a rematch with Thurman like he mentioned in the ring. That would be great. But will we get that? Probably not. So listen, it's going to be what it's going to be, right? Talib Cunningham is out there saying salute. C Love is out there, says Danny is a great technical boxer. Exactly, Stormy. His balance is amazing. Yes. See, when you talk about certain things like balance, being able to be defensively responsible, having every punch in your repertoire for, offense, and then have a decent chin, have a very good chin, and you haven't been damaged, meaning like you haven't taken beatings in the ring and stuff like that. It comes down to that person's motivations. And Danny is good enough to beat some people. And for some of those who are less experienced, let's just remember here that he is from that class with Thurman, Porter, Crawford, those guys. They were all right there with one another in the amateurs. So they've seen the cream of the crop. Some of these other guys, they don't have that very same type of experience. And they can be taken to school. Some of them. Not all of them. Some of them. And the one who sleeps is the one who is going to, get shown up in a fight. Reese Bruh says, hit the like button. And Hustler Slim says, that was great matchmaking for Danny. Good to test the waters. Yep. Dwayne Jones saying, bless up from the mighty ATL. Jimmy Bernard says, Sensei, Danny called out Lara. How would you picture that fight? Man, that would be not going in just off the top of my head. That's not a great fight stylistic, because both men are counterpunchers. Somebody's going to have to take the aggressive route in that fight. Would it be Lara, who's had a couple of solid knockouts in his last couple of fights? Who knows? But stylistic wise, that's like when Bernard Hopkins had to fight what was his name? Can't think of the guy's name right now. But that was a kind of boring fight, Winky Wright. I'm sorry, I was trying to think of his name. Winky Wright. Now, Winky Wright had a style that Bernard and he, it didn't make for a good fight. They were, it's like sitting in the dentist's office in that chair waiting for him to go in your mouth with that drill. And if the shot he gave you is going to work or not. Yeah. Lara needs an aggressive fighter against him, like this kid, Fondura or something. That's what Lara needs. Someone who's going to go in there and try to get him. Huh? Because Lara could look good off of that. Yeah. T9's boxing class says, salute Stormy, salute to you. And Ty D says, at 155, give me Lara. Yeah. But Lara's getting up there in age too. He might be 40, the way they lie about their ages. So who knows? Danny is 34, Lara might be the same age as King Kong Ortiz. You never know. Yeah. So that's what I got to say about that one. But yeah, hats off to Danny for his performance tonight. I'm glad that he was successful. I'm glad that he really put it together. He did a great job. So now it's onward and upward, whatever else he's going to do. Just don't make it a full year before you get back in there. Make it about 3 or 4 months if you do anything, but don't make it 6 to 8. Get your butt back in the ring, Danny. And I couldn't hear everything that his dad was saying to him, but his dad was up in his face every round, keeping him focused. I love that. So, but yeah, let's talk a little bit about the co-main. Where we saw Joseph Kalnaki taking on Ali Aris. What's his last name? Demirizin. Hey man, the Michelin man got shown up again tonight, man. The Michelin man should get out the sport. He's taking too many shots. And I just feel like with every big shot that snaps his head back and everything, man, a few years from now, that kid is going to be speaking kind of funny and everything. He takes too many clean flush shots. And I've said this so many times. If a guy is taking shots like that in a live action fight, he has to be taking those same shots in the gym when he's preparing for a fight. And that's so dangerous, man. It is so dangerous. I want fighters to be safe. I want fighters to be well taken care of. But when guys are just taking that brutal punishment like Kalnaki takes, man, it just makes me cringe. And it's a good thing that Demirizin didn't have that real big punch, because if he did, Kalnaki would have been, put to sleep. Yeah. But it was a good brawl. I called it the Battle of the Belly Busters. You know what I'm saying? These two men, they look like they could have been sumos out there, huh? If you put them little Japanese shorts on them like them sumo wrestlers and put their, put a ponytail on them. Heavyweights need to be in shape, bro. Don't come out there looking like a fire plug. Come out there, let's see some abs, huh? Don't be coming out there looking like, me. When I ain't done nothing in the gym, just come out there and it's like, oh, he looks kind of soft in the midsection, huh? Get in there and get in some shape, man, besides round, huh? How about sculpt? But they threw a lot of punches, man. And Kalnaki started off strong, first 3 rounds or so. But then the steam started seeping out of the chimney, huh? And after that, Demirzin, he came out there and he put it on him. In fact, the guy picked up his activity as the rounds went on, so they want to test his blood, huh? And find out if he was clean or not. Because big boys like that, they shouldn't be picking up momentum as the fight goes along. They should be slowing down, huh? Especially if they get word that, it's almost dinner time after the fight. So he wants to save some of that energy for the buffet table. But no, he came in there and he closed up kind of strong. Kalnaki tried to do something toward the end of the 11th and everything, but he had taken too much earlier, man. Taken too much. So, and how did that end up being the co-main too? Because they were heavyweights? Because the first fight of the live card, Gary Anton against Francis Bartholomew, man, that should have been the co-main. And oh my goodness, while we're at it, can we talk about the referee that stopped that fight, man? Is that Antonio Tarver's cousin or something, that referee? Oh, milk dud head dude. Listen, man, he stopped that fight when that kid was clearly ready to continue. Yes, he got hurt. He got dropped. He was wobbly, but he reserved the right as a professional fighter to fight till he can't fight no more. And if Gary Anton was going to put him down again, let him put him down again. Don't you stop it. I hope I never see that guy on a televised card again. But he'll be back next week. He was horrible, bro. There was something really shady about what he did. Really shady. I would have to wonder if he had a bet on Gary himself. I'm not suggesting anything from Gary's corner or anything. Please believe me when I say that. Because Gary was out there trying to lay hands on that dude, Bartholomew. He was trying to win the fight. But the referee, Gary did not need your help. He did not need your help. What the hell was he doing? And then the commission didn't let him speak after the fight either, because they got to get their ducks in a row after that mess, because everybody looking at it could see, yeah, he stopped that unnecessarily. Remember that dude's name, man. Remember that dude's name, because he's a problem. And he was an arrogant prick too. Did you see when they were trying to hey, what are you doing? And he was trying to little smirk on his face and everything. I would have slapped him across that bald head of his, man. Coming out there, these men putting on a fight. It was back and forth. Bartholomew was trying to fight. Gary was trying to fight. And a knockdown happened. That's what happens when guys are vulnerable and they going in like that. That's embarrassing. And I know that Bartholomew's people are like calling for a rematch and stuff, but it's not going to be a rematch. He'll be on and up for Gary and what he's doing. Hustler Slim says, Stormy B, man, I said it looked like two old school cafeteria ladies fighting for the lunch shift. Talking about Kaunaki and Ali. Yeah, man. The belly busters right there. Jason Williams says, peace, Stormy B, man, and peace to everyone in the chat. And he says, fire that bum ass ref. You know it, man. You know it. Where did they find that dude? He blew it. If I was ever working, my fighter was fighting and we saw him, we'd be, oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. He just totally asserted himself in the midst of the action unnecessarily in a fight that was just getting to be damn good. Who the hell does that? I hated that, man. That was ridiculous. Lewis Hinton says 100. AJ64 says 100 agree, Stormy. Hustler Slim says, I hated that stoppage. Yeah, man. What the hell? Now, I'm going to tell you something. That's 2 fights in a row that the fights were stopped before Gary could finish the guys off. You had Postall and now this guy, Bartholomew. In both fights, Gary was taking care of business, but you don't need the ref's help. You don't. William says, Kaunaki, they said that he lost a lot of weight. Makes me wonder if he lost too much weight too fast. His energy was gone after a few rounds. Well, this is what I got to say about that, William. They don't say he put the weight on too fast, do they? Huh? And his energy don't be gone while he putting it on, do we? Huh? Slop the hog, as they used to say as I was growing up. Slop the hog. You know, you push the table back, big boy. Huh? Hungry ass. I'm from a generation that watched heavyweights that were in shape. Huh? Even if their skill set wasn't that good, those guys, they look like fighters. These guys today look like plumbers and the damn, the guy that be working under the sink and you can see the crack of his butt through the underwear and everything. He's like pants hanging down. This is what they look like. Heavyweights going out there. The cups can't even hold their belly. It's like the belly is over the trunks and everything. Get the hell out of here with that, man. If I'm putting my charge in there against a guy like that, I'm insulting him. I'm telling him, I'm talking about him so bad that he gonna want to fight me and my charge. Look at this. Look at this guy over here, huh? He looked like he got out of the bed, walked 2 feet to the refrigerator that's in his bedroom, pulled out last night's fried chicken in his bathrobe, and laid down while he was eating it? Huh? That's what he looked like. And on this night, Kaunaki had a guy that looked just like him. Huh? If they shaved their heads, you wouldn't be able to tell them apart. Body wise. Yeah, I'm slamming them. You know why? Because Ali, who won the fight, looked like if he was 25 pounds lighter, he could have did a lot more. Tell me I'm lying. Tell me I'm lying. Kaunaki, if he had been taught to keep his hands up and to move his head off center line and things of that nature before they put him on in there, because he was knocking out guys so easily and everything without teaching him some stuff, he wouldn't look like he's looking now. The piece of meat that's hanging in the slaughterhouse, huh? You know, like the one that Rocky was hitting in the first Rocky movie when they came to interview him. He was at his job with Paulie, banging on that slab of meat. And I'm not saying he looked like Rocky. I'm saying he looked like the slab of meat that Rocky was hitting, huh? Yeah. Coming in there looking like 2 dudes that ain't even seen a training camp. And yeah, it's insulting to talk about them like that or whatever, because I can go back and play you some films. The real heavyweights of the 70s and the early 80s did not look like that. And the few who did look like that, Mike Tyson made sure that they were taken off the map very quickly. Yeah. When Mike Tyson came along, those who were out of shape like that, they went by the wayside very quickly. And then guys got back in shape again. You start seeing guys looking like Frank Bruno, Razor Ruddock, Evander Holyfield and stuff like that. Guys coming, Ray Mercer, they was coming to the ring looking like men. Huh? They didn't come to the ring with girdles on. Huh? And for y'all that's young, you don't know what a girdle is. Girdle was an apparel apparatus that women would put on to make their figure or hold their figure in shape a little bit. Yeah, a girdle. Huh? How do you get in the ring and you looking like a busted can of biscuits? Huh? Seriously. Even when you go to the beach, they tell you to cover that shit up. Huh? Put a big t-shirt on. Don't nobody want to see them rolls and rolls and rolls and everything. It makes people sick. It's like they don't have no shame now. It's ridiculous, man. Utterly ridiculous. Salute to the brother Underground Asylum with that super chat. He says, just supporting the channel and great content. Salute, Sensei. Salute to you, bro. Thank you for your donation, man. Jason Williams says Gary had to overcome because that dude made him fight. The ref stole a great performance from Gary. You can look at it like that too, Jason. I don't argue with that point. Hustler Slim says Gary was about to finish him. His legs were not there, and Gary earned the right to finish him. He made a good adjustment. Absolutely. I am an advocate of that. Let the fight come to its completion. Ref, your job is to count people out. Huh? And if the guy goes down again, so be it. Count. Unless the sucker can't count. Is that what it is? Is that what he is? One of them big old dummies who can't count? So he figured he'll just stop the fight. Yeah, I'll prove to them, I'm smarter than them. I won't even count. I'll just wave it off. You big dummy. Stopping the fight. T9's boxing class says that was becoming a great fight. Jason Williams says Gary was starting to edge him out, but I saw no need to stop that fight. I love how Gary started to preserve. Yeah. JC says Sensei going off. Yeah, big dummy stopping the fight, man. Stop him. Next time he comes to the facility to referee a fight, tell him, we're good. Huh? You could go home. Jason Williams says he dinged Gary a couple of times, but Gary showed great heart. So did he. I feel bad for him. He won't be getting a rematch. You better believe that. He ain't getting no rematch. Antonio is laughing. William is laughing. Antonio says they always prematurely stopping damn fights. I get that they seem to be trying to push Gary, but he didn't need their help. Absolutely. Absolutely, man. Don't need their help. Jason Williams says Kaunaki always has stamina issues. He just isn't very good, especially if you take him deep or hit him in the gut. Reese Bro says plumbers. Kane the bad guy says salute Stormy. James Galbraith is laughing. Kane the bad guy says some of these heavyweights need a bra and a skirt. JC says damn. William says Stormy B man, heavyweights from our day were totally in shape. You didn't see heavyweights like today's fighters back in our days. Sure didn't. The closest you might have saw was Buster Mathis Sr. And he was in the 60s with Ali and them. Joe Frazier knocked his butt out. Williams says truth. Antonio still laughing, saying body like Spam. Worse than Spam. I told you, like a busted can of biscuits. Kane the bad guy says Kaunaki look like a real life Homer Simpson. Deacon Dollar says Lamar Odom needs to be fired for stopping that fight. He called him Lamar Odom. I just feel like that referee right there, I got a bad vibe about that dude a while back. And then here he comes on a night like tonight and show his ass live on Showtime. Huh? You tell him we've had enough of that. If you want to come back on Showtime, let it be after fights are done and let it be Showtime after hours. Huh? He can show his ass on those adult programs on Showtime after hours. We don't need him refereeing no damn boxing matches. Get the hell out of here, old black ass. You man, don't get me started, man. Don't get me started. Because that dude, it looked like he had his own agenda. It didn't have nothing to do with the match. It didn't have nothing to do with sanctioning bodies or anything. You look at how he looked at Rancis and just waved the fight off. You know Rancis' first language is not English. You know this already. You were in the dressing room giving him his fighter's instructions just like you were in Gary Anton's dressing room. He didn't show you anything that said that I can't go on. But you made that judgment, which tells me you have a lapse in judgment and don't know what the hell you doing. Get the hell out of the sport. Get your ass out of here. Who the hell are you working for? Yourself? You big dummy, you don't know what you're doing. Then had the nerve to be walking around the ring with a little smirk on his face and everything. You did this, you freaking idiot. 2 men in there mixing it up with people pay their hard-earned cash to see, and here you are sticking your big man. It pisses me off, man. I don't know how y'all feel about it, but I get livid on that kind of stuff. I want the fights to come to their conclusion. I don't want no referee assistance. I hate when they have to pause the action and call a doctor up to look at a guy or something because you don't know what them damn doctors are gonna say. Because this is boxing. It's a brutal sport. People get hurt in boxing. But when you see things done improperly all the freaking time, it's enough to make you livid. You could see Jack Reese looking at an unconscious Tyson Fury snoring with his eyes open, fixed to the lights over the ring. And he's screaming at him to get up. Then, just weeks later in another fight, Jack Reese is refereeing and a guy gets shook up and goes into the ropes and he grabs the guy and hugs him and waves the fight off. What the hell are you doing? And in aftermath, he says something about the Tyson Fury fight. I thought I was doing what was best for the sport of boxing. No, you didn't do what was best for the sport of boxing, because if you were doing what was best for the sport of boxing, you would have killed yourself that night. Yeah, I said it. Jack Reese. That's what would have been good for the sport of boxing. Because your judgment is off as well. Unfair. Who the hell you think you talking to? We're just a class of dummies out here, right? Watching the sport. We don't know what the hell is going on, do we? Yeah, we do. Corruption. That's what's going on. And this dude tonight, can somebody write his name in the chat so I want to record his name down. Otherwise, I'm going to have to go back and watch the fight again to get his name. This referee, you better watch this guy, people. I'm telling you, this was his coming out show. This was his coming out show. I'm telling you, you heard it here, right here tonight first. This is what it was. Jason Williams says they got his ass out of there quick, fast, and in a hurry. He should have had to answer some questions. We all had questions about that stoppage. Yes, we did. Yes, we did. That's how you know something shady, bro. That's how you know. I'm testing the super chat to see what we can do here. Yeah. Kane the Bad Guy says there needs to be a regular job performance reviews for combat sport referees. Antonio says Sensei is pissed. Jason says I empathize with the trainer. He spoke from the heart and I agree with him 100%. Listen, all you got to do is switch the tables. What if Gary Anton went down from a knockdown like that, got up, and the ref did the same thing? There you go. There you go. Because a lot of people want to see Gary Anton be successful. And mind you, he's a damn good fighter. He don't need that type of help. He's more than capable of taking care of business with his fists. Boxing matchups, Dwayne Freeman says, salute Stormy B, man. I agree. It should have continued. I think Gary would have stopped him anyway. But the ref took that from us. Yes. Jason says, I just finished watching UFC MMA. Amanda Nunes just split the girl open with an elbow and had her leaking all over the ring, but they let them fight until the end. You see? Kane the Bad Guy says Charlo knocked the hell out of Harrison, but that ref let the action continue. Then the action stopped and he stopped the damn fight. Jason says, I didn't get the ref's name, but I will never forget that bald-headed bastard. Yep. William says, Jack Reese had me so pissed off, the man talked to Fury and woke him up. Then Fury was out cold and he should have called the fight. And let's not forget about the extra time he gave Fury. Yeah, man. He had Fury over there doing the electric slide and everything. Step to the left, step to the left, step to the right, step to the right. Now slide on it, slide on it. Yeah, Fury was like, okay, I'm good now. He's like, okay, resume. What? Foolishness, man. And if you think that I come out here to complain about this stuff, I don't. I want to see boxing just like you guys. I want to see the matchups. I want to see people ebb and flow. I want to see them get up off the floor and come back and, you know, be down on the scorecards and score a knockout. I want all of that. But these damn refs and judges get the hell in the way all the damn time. How in the hell was the Danny Garcia, Jose Benavidez Jr. fight a draw? How in the hell was that fight a draw? You had one judge who had it scored 114 to 114. How? In what universe? At one point during the fight, I don't even remember which round, they were already talking about how many jabs that Danny had thrown already successfully. Jose wasn't doing nothing. Yet someone scored it split 6-6. Whoever that judge was that scored that fight a draw should never work a fight again. And see, this is what you guys don't realize. That person will get a chance to come back. And then one of your favorite fighters will be in a fight and be doing good business, and they steal the fight from them. Because they're corrupt. There was nothing that there was nothing that Jose did in that fight to earn more than one round. I told you I give him, out of 12 rounds, I give him one round on my scorecard, and that was close. Even if Danny was taking the round off, you could still give it to Danny because he was rolling so well. Yeah, Lewis Hinton. They had it 114 to 114, bro. In what freaking universe? There's no way. Kane the bad guy says, why isn't the standing 8 count enough? Listen, even when the standing 8 count is available, half these damn refs don't even use it, bro. When they could. You tell me, when has the ref stepped in the midst of some action where someone was taking a pummeling, put the guy to his neutral corner and give the guy a standing 8? When is the last time you've seen that? And they can do it. You know how they'll stop the action when a guy drops his mouthpiece out his mouth? If a guy is taking action and a standing 8 count is part of the rules of this particular fight, this match, the ref can stop the action in the fight and assess that this guy needs a standing 8 count. When is the last time you've seen that happen? And we're not talking about when a guy goes into the ropes and almost hits the canvas, but the ropes held him up. No, the ref can stop the action in those instances and issue a standing 8. When is the last time you've seen that happen? The 17th of never. Shakur Stevenson was pounding on Oscar Valdez's mug. You would have thought his head was a bongo. Huh? At no point did the ref step in and issue a standing 8 count for him. He called a knockdown when it looked like Valdez went into those ropes and the ropes held him up. But at any given point in that fight, when Valdez's head looked like a bobble doll, he could have stepped in there and issued him a standing 8 count or 2. Huh? But they didn't. But I guarantee you, if Valdez was pounding on Shakur like that, they would have called and even probably stepped in and waved the damn fight off. Because that's how they do things. This is how they get down. You see what I'm saying? This is why I say these things. I point them out. Now, I'm not on here to talk about this all the time. But I'm just saying, man, I've seen so much corruption that it is not on the up and up for fights to just come to their conclusion. They want to have an influence. They want to have their say so. Yeah, Danny looked good tonight, but I'm still going to give 5 or 6 rounds to the other guy anyway. Man, you should never work a fight again. Never work a fight again. Shadow 9, I see you out there, bro. And we had 3 fights tonight that had different types of action, which was great. The Bartholomew Russell fight was action-packed from round one. Give and take. They were going at it. The Kaunaki Ali fight was two heavyweights that couldn't get away from each other, just pounding. And then in the main event, Garcia and Benavidez was a boxing clinic. So the guy putting on the clinic didn't provide enough separation that one judge saw that they should make it even. In what universe? Where did Danny lose 6 rounds? Where? You mean to tell me in your clear consciousness that Danny lost 6 rounds? Benavidez couldn't win 6 rounds if Danny had one arm. Emmanuel Joseph Bain says, this is why you can't leave it up to the judges anymore, shaking my head. And that is too much pressure to put on a fighter who doesn't have a knockout punch, but who may be able to box his butt off. So you mean to tell me that a guy who can just really box don't have a chance at winning because of the corruption of some of these judges? That's not the way boxing should be. In the NFL, whether you win by 1 point or a field goal or a touchdown or a safety, you win. It shouldn't be up. We got to debate that. Even though it was a touchdown, maybe we really shouldn't give it to him. What? And when they take a score off the board, when they say, oh, we had holding, or the guy stepped out of bounds when it really didn't look like he stepped out of bounds, or he broke the plane, but they're saying, the camera is inconclusive, no touchdown. What? That's corruption right there. They can call holding on every play in the NFL. Salute to you, KQKC. I see you out there, brother. Great call and great show today, man. You were working hard. I gave you some, props on that a little earlier when I started the stream, man. Thank you so much for what you do, brother. Yeah, KQ, you should not have to knock the other guy out to win. Many years ago, it used to be you had to damn near knock the champion out to win and become champion. That's something a little different. But just to win a fight? No. Danny beat that dude's ass for 12 rounds and possibly lost 1 round. But one of the judges had it a draw. Get the hell out of boxing. And that ref that stopped Bartholomew. Bartholomew's been in some tough fights before. English is not his first language. You were in the dressing room with them before they came out for the match. You should know and have an assessment of who you're talking to in that ring. He got up, walked around, walked it off, getting himself back together. And when you looked at him in his face, you just waved the fight off. He wasn't wobbling. He didn't do his eyes didn't roll back in his head or nothing. He nodded his head. He's ready to go. Let him go. If he gets knocked out, he gets knocked out. What if Gary came in sloppy and ran into a shot and got knocked down himself? Oh, it's on now. It's a great fight. You took that away from us, Milk Dud. You took that away from us. William, that's 1000% correct. Lewis Hinton, that's a great idea. I used to suggest that, man. I said that we should make a list of these bad officials that are judging fights and the bad referees and find out exactly which sanctioning bodies that they're working for, because all of that stuff comes down. Like, I don't know who was sponsoring this fight tonight between Garcia and Benavidez Jr. If it was the WBC, the IBF, WBO, I don't know. WBA, don't know. But one of those sanctioning bodies was overseeing that match. So when you start connecting the dots, that bad judge, the bad ref, then you can start lining things up and you can put them on your blacklist of like, these are the people, whenever they're around, watch the fight extra closely. And I don't mind talking about it on my show. I'm a small channel. I don't care. I'll tell it like it is and make them all mad. JC is laughing. KQKC says, you're right, Stormy. They cheated both fighters tonight and the fans. And the fans. This is actually what you want to see. That type of action. That fight between Gary and Francis was a damn good fight. It was a damn good fight. And it was more than likely going to be a knockout. But don't we deserve to see the knockout? It's like this, KQ and everybody listening. You're watching the game. It's the Super Bowl. The teams are tied. One team is on the drive. It's less than a minute to go in the game. The quarterback drops back and the cable cuts off. You're like, wait, hold up. What the hell? And that's your ending to the Super Bowl. And they don't just say it happened, the cable was out in your house. It went out across the country. Something happened to the satellite in the sky. A meteor hit it or something, and it knocked out your cable. You can't see nothing. It's going to take about 3 weeks for everything to get back. So you got to check out the newspaper tomorrow morning to see what happened. That's how gut-wrenching it is when these guys interfere in the sport of boxing. These men are out there working hard, trying to do what they do. They train for weeks to come out and perform on this night, and you take it away from them because you want to get your bitch ass up there and be the man in front of everybody. But you're just a stinking referee with a milk dud for a head, and you don't know what the fuck you doing. You have no clue. Lewis Hinton says, we are boxing. We can do it. They want to be famous. Let's make them famous. Yes, sir. I'm all for that. I'm all for it. We can start putting together lists, and I can do my Friday night chop session and say, hey, guys, let's bring out the blacklist, judges and refs. Who's judging and reffing these fights this weekend? And then we see the outcomes, and you find a crazy scorecard or a bad decision or something like that. And it's like, okay, let's line up. Oh, yeah, yep, that was Jack Reese again. That was so-and-so. Yeah, that was Milk Dud. There you go. Huh? JC is laughing. He says, Sensei is cooking. Listen, man, I would love nothing more than to just be talking about how great the fight was and stuff like this. But we always seem to have to go back, right, and talk about certain things that don't really need to be a part of it. But guess what? The networks ain't going to do it. ESPN, DAZN, Top Rank, all of them. They ain't going to do it. We'll do it. KQ says, Cook, Stormy, tell it like it is, brother. You know I'm going to do it, man. And like I said, fighters like Gary Antoine, they don't need the referee help like that. Just get the hell out of the way. As long as there's no fouls or something like that, sit back, call time when the bell rings. Sit your ass down somewhere. All up in the action and everything. And I'll tell you something, a lot of them are so corrupt that they're working with certain sanctioning bodies that there is a pattern and consistency. I remember when I was collaborating with Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens, we talked about that quite a bit. And Reggie had made a list of certain people. I didn't keep up with my list like I should have. But I kind of wish I did now, because there have been so many just over the past couple of years, poor decisions, that I guarantee you, if you stick with the name list, you're going to see a pattern. It's going to be a pattern, and it becomes painfully obvious when they get spread out over months, because you could think about the last time you saw a bad decision or something, or somebody was robbed. But then when you start looking at the same freaking names, bro, coming up all the damn time, it's just something to consider. And I would love for us as a community, all of us content creators, to do that together and have our lists. We have the same names on our list, and then when another event takes place and with something we check mark it, and we be like, hey, we're adding this, we're adding that person to this event on this fight, so forth and so on. This referee on this night, all of that. Sanctioning body that was a part of it, all of that. It should be done. Salute to Big Dog Willie. Hashtag Khan is the GOAT. He says, tonight BS is why boxing lose viewership. Absolutely, Big Dog Willie. And thank you for your donation, brother. You're 1,000% correct. You're 1,000% correct, man. Jimmy Bernard says, Stormy B, man, these refs or judges need common sense and eye exams. No, they need to be banned from the sport, because when we show that there's a history of them doing these corrupt decisions and actions, then that's when we can call to ask to have them removed. This guy tonight, he really got the spotlight shined on him and his dome head, huh? But I guarantee you that he may have had another situation within the past 6 to 8 months that we ain't thought about or never covered. Because remember, some cards are not televised. You know, some fights rather, they'll be on the deep undercard where it wasn't on in front of the cameras and stuff. So there's consistency there because lepers do not change their spots. He just acted out tonight. He couldn't hold himself. I gotta stop it. Rancis was like, what? As soon as he waved his arm, Rancis was like, hey, what are you doing? What are you talking about? So I'll tell you guys, this is one of the ways that I can work on it. If you guys tonight, somebody want to send an email, my email is down there in the description box, stormybman@gmail. You guys can send me the name of the judge that scored the Garcia fight a draw, and this referee who called this fight off in Russell's fight against Bartholomew tonight. I need the names of those two people, one ref, one judge, and I can start from here, from ground zero, and I will build upon that rock. And every chance I get to collaborate with one of the other brothers or sisters out here in the community, and I will remind them, hey, these are the names I got so far. Do they line up with yours? If you got some names I don't have, let me have them. If I got some names you don't have, I'll let you have them. And we can start just like that. And then we can get our subscribers who watch the fights just like we do to start sending emails to these sanctioning bodies saying, why do you guys continue to put this corrupt official? Why do you continue to put this corrupt referee in important matches? You can't find new people? Or is the name of the game to keep the sport unbalanced? Come clean with us. Emmanuel Joseph Bang says, the issue is the promoters and the sanctioning bodies. They pay the judges, refs, and to influence decisions. There's so much that we can do. We are not helpless in this. And I'll tell you, as we begin to do these things, the fighters will appreciate us even more. Because it's one thing to rant about it on the air and then not take it further than that. That's right, Watcher. It was the best thing I have ever done. Jack Reese said that. He also said he did what he thought was best for the sport of boxing. Who the hell made you responsible to make that type of decision, what's best for boxing? You don't even know what's best coming out your mouth to have made a statement like that can come back and bite you in your pale ass. Huh? Sit the fuck down somewhere. Okay, AJ, I'm going to have to go back and look at that because I can't scroll up to it now. Teach says, as for Gary Russell And Rand says, I still don't think it was a bad decision, Stormy. You know what? Teach. That's because you're not looking at it through the proper lens. You're not. That was not a situation for an official, which in this case, the referee. Judges are officials as well. But in this instance, the referee, who's closest to the action, made a decision that impacted a fight that was already on its way to a conclusion, possibly. And he imposed himself. I just gave the example that if it were Gary Anton who went down, got up, walked around, walked it off, and when the ref looked at him and waved it, he would have felt the exact same way. This wasn't a point of the man just taking a battering and beating, because we've seen the same stupid ass referees stand and observe a guy being pounded into submission and won't stop the fight. That's my point. We can do better. We can demand better. If you don't want better for your sport, then, stick with the mindsets that you have. But you're going to be disappointed when it happens to your favorite fighter. Jimmy Bernard is asking, Sensei, what ref stands out the best you've seen? Mills Lane was pretty damn good. Mills Lane was pretty damn good, man. Mills Lane. He's no longer with us, but he was one of the best. Joe Cortez was good, but then he got to acting a little funny at a certain point. Carlos Padilla was a good referee. Okay, Teach is saying Shader. I'm writing this down. Shader Murdaugh. That was a ref, right? I mean, that was a judge that had that fight scored a draw. And Waleska Rowland was the ref, right? I'm going to start a new list, man. Start a new list. Big Dog Willie, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. But when someone imposes themselves, they take all of that away from you. They take it away. Oh, I got it mixed up. Shader was the ref and Waleska was the judge. Okay. So I'll switch it. So I'm going to start my own little list going forward, and I'll update it accordingly. But I thank you for that. Teach and AJ64. I appreciate you. William says it's almost like these refs know nothing about boxing. How do you not stop a fight when the guy is beat up and stop a fight when the guy isn't really hurt? Makes no sense, Stormy B, man. That's what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? It's like the police, right? These guys who go on the shooting sprees and stuff, they get taken into custody. Then a person pulled over for a traffic violation or something ends up losing their life to a cop that unloads 20 rounds in them. What is that? How does a guy armed who killed up a bunch of people, how do they get taken into custody? And an average Joe or lady can lose their life from a routine profiled stop. Come on, man. Come on. That's that same principle, William. You see? It's the same thought process. I don't know, man. I'm going to have to get on out of here, though, people. I'm glad everybody came out to rock with me this evening. Just know that I'm going to do my part in this going forward. And as I add to this list, because it ain't going to take long to add the names because they are in rotation. It's just a matter of when you watch the next fights, it's what it is. We talk about it. We can do something about it. But shout out to the mighty LDBC. It's been another post-fight show. Garcia versus Benavidez. I'm glad to see Danny is back. Glad to see Danny was successful. Jose Benavidez needs to go fishing. Find him something else to do with his life. Leave boxing alone. This is not your cup of tea, sir. It is not. No matter what your dad has tried to do with you and for you. No matter what your brother is accomplishing. It ain't your cup of tea. Go sit down somewhere, raise your family, your kids and everything. Be a good uncle and be a good son to your dad. But leave boxing alone. And stay off of my TV. Huh? Yeah. So peace to everybody out there. Everybody please remain safe. We got the call-in show tomorrow morning, 10:30 a.m. And we'll be back to talk some more. Appreciate all of you. All right. Much love. And we up out of here.